Balisongs or butterfly knives are one of the coolest objects to play with, and they're pretty dangerous obviously, so I ordered one. Despite being completely illegal, it was one of the coolest things I've ever held in my hands. But the moment I looked at it carefully, I realized something wasn't right. Every butterfly knife consists of 3 parts: the bite handle, the safe handle, and the blade itself. Holding the safe handle will help you avoid the sharp side of the blade so it doesn't get stuck on your fingers while doing the tricks. But in my knife, the blade was facing towards the safe handle. I wanted to fix it, but I didn't have the proper screwdriver, so I thought maybe holding the bite handle instead of the safe handle may fix the problem of this knife. And it kinda did, and of course, it made my finger happier. I was excited to try it, but as soon as I started flipping it, I understood I was messing with the wrong knife. The blade and the tip were too sharp, and I'm familiar with cuts and stitches unfortunately, so I decided that maybe I would come to this one after I get used to the knife and the movements. So I again started searching websites and ordered a practice one, which was still illegal, but at least with a safe blade this time. With the sharp one, I don't think I can try this. The plan is to learn 3 different tricks from each level of basic, intermediate, and advanced, and then combine all 3 into a combo. But the first things to learn are the openings actually, because we start the tricks with the openings, and of course, I don't want to open the knife like beginners. The first opening to try is called the basic opening, which is the most basic one available, and it's been used in so many movies in the past because the theory and the moves are pretty simple. Holding the safe handle, throwing the knife out, twisting the knife, closing it on your fingers, and bringing it all back. And it goes the same for closing it also. It didn't take me more than 5 minutes to turn my mechanical moves into a smooth opening and closing, so we can go and try the next one pretty fast. The next opening is called the ice pick opening and looks a little bit harder than the basic one. To perform this move, we need to hold the knife in another way, which is called the ice pick hold. Grab the knife by the safe handle and let the blade and the bite handle fall. Then we need to twist the wrist and also twist the knife with the help of this motion at the same time, and then bringing the bite handle back to the hand. The theory is similar to the basic opening, and I could do it constantly after a while, but it wasn't so smooth, until something clicked in my head. I feel like the key to make this opening smoother is moving your hand a little bit after twisting the wrist, so it uses the handle's movement and it comes back to your hand. By applying this tip to the process and practicing it over and over again, I finally get a smooth ice pick opening and closing. It was time for the main tricks, but since the carpets are out for washing and I don't really want to take the risk of dropping the knife, so here we are at the Central Park, where I don't have to be worried about dropping the knife. Next up is the Y2K. The move looks similar to thumb round in pen spinning, but if you're not familiar with it, the knife has to do a circular motion around your thumb and then you bring it back to the palm of your hand. I sat down to start practicing it for the first time, and that was literally the first try I had. I thought I got it right away and wanted to try again, but no. Looks like the knife doesn't agree with me. I began to practice, and at first it was all about dropping after dropping after dropping. But after getting the movement and understanding what I was supposed to do, I managed to get it faster than what I expected. But the challenge is, am I confident enough to try it on a hard surface also? I don't really want to take the risk of dropping the knife, where I don't have to be worried about dropping the knife. Well, except that, I did hit some pretty smooth Y2Ks, and did some pretty good saves. The next move on the list is called the Helix. It looked like watching 1 or 2 tutorials wasn't going to take me anywhere, and the more I watched, the more confused I got, so I thought maybe practicing it myself would help me figure out how it works. But nope, back to watching tutorials. It didn't take long till I found out that Helix was only enjoyable to watch but an absolute pain and headache to try. The knife kept slipping off of my fingers and I couldn't catch it when it was spinning around my index finger. So after inventing some new moves, and some weird catches, I learned how it must be done. So basically, Helix is a combination of a Y2K rollover, which I learned before, index open 0G chaplain, and a Zen rollover, which I don't even know what they are. That's just how they're called. Practicing time was on and I really started mastering it very fast. I mean, dropping the knife in the nicest ways possible, which was making me mad. Attention, no ballad songs were heard in the process of making this video. And while practicing, I was getting kind of distracted, and it was because of this tiny friend who at first thought I was scary, but a little later decided to come and play around me. So I got back to practicing and the cat came to enjoy the show and was obviously very impressed with what I was doing. But it was still very hard to do it, so I decided that I would divide the move into two parts. The Y2K rollover and the index open 0G chaplain together, and the Zen rollover. Which was actually a great idea, and I eventually could do with the Helix constantly. First, I had the Helix as an intermediate move on my list, but for sure it wasn't. Advanced move, done. The final item on the list is the horizontal aerial, but before that, let me tell you a short story. I was sitting and practicing the Helix, but the knife slipped off of my hand and started flying and went right through my hair, so don't be shocked if my hair is short now. So, horizontal aerial. Watching tutorials for this one was actually pretty fun and I could make my inner child enjoy it a little bit, but it was time for action. The horizontal aerial is a basic opening plus a really smooth swing which looks pretty satisfying. But it's a little hard to get used to, but trust me, it's way easier than the Helix and in no time you will find yourself doing it with no problem. Don't mind me having a little celebration on that one, at least I didn't drop the knife like before. So after all these practices and multiple camera fallings and almost breaking the phone and the knife, it was the time. Thanks to my friends on Reddit for helping me with this and thank you for standing by. Hope I will see you on the next one.